And welcome, folks, to the first of our Helium Down Under video tutorials. My name is Ian, and I will be aiming to produce a bunch of ongoing video tutorials on the helium opportunity, about how to best position yourself. Hopefully in time we'll get some guest speakers from wherever they may be, but right now let me show you what we are dealing with here in Australia as far as helium. There we go, the big wide world of Australia, the land down under. And right now the lights are pretty much not on. We've got a couple of lone lights here for helium, but as I understand they were very much the early adapters, and in fact were part of a pilot program back in the earlier stages of helium and are not earning HNT. But let's just compare Australia to the rest of the world right now. Of course, the US just going off, Europe gangbusters, and we've been watching our northern neighbors in China as their network continues to grow. But it is very much early days here for Australia. There has not been the first shipment of helium miners from any of the companies yet. The first I anticipate will probably be the Nebra units, which I anticipate will probably arrive, the first batch, in maybe a month. So January, February, March, April, probably towards the end of May is my guess at this stage. But like the rest of the world, we're sort of caught up in this hardware shortage, and well, they'll be here when they get here. I ordered my units. They're scheduled to arrive. I have 5 on order, and they're due to arrive in June. But like many of us right now, we're seeing unexpected delays. Hey, look, I really wouldn't mind betting that mine don't arrive until July, and fingers crossed they're not any later than that. But hey, when they're here, they're here. But I have 5 units. The purpose of this call here tonight, or this video, is in fact is primarily aimed at Australians, or perhaps those friends of mine, hello Crown, those friends of mine over in the ditch in New Zealand, or anywhere else in the big wide world that is just getting started with the helium opportunity. Because we sort of look with great envy at our American friends and European friends at just how many units they are. But when you're starting in ground zero, it's a bit hard to sort of think, well, how are we going to best position ourselves to see some of the returns that those around the world are receiving. So I thought the best way of doing that was to look at successful models, and that's what the aim of tonight's call absolutely is. So if we just come over here, and I sort of really aim to show those getting started maybe how they can optimize their helium setup to maximize their HNT mining, or their HNT rewards. Now, really important up front, we live in a very dynamic world at the moment. Things are changing. We've got the halving coming up. We've got 25,000 new miners that will probably be switched on over the coming months, and that's just the start. There will probably be another 25,000, another 100,000 online before too soon. What will that do to our earnings? Who can say for certain? But what I'm quite sure on is that helium is a fantastic opportunity to secure our financial futures by tapping into an industry that I personally see as incredible, the Internet of Things. I mean, goodness, it really is just a great opportunity. But as it says down here right now, this is not investment advice. It's simply an example of what's working for some in helium right now. And it's very important never to invest anything without doing your own research and working within your own means and comfort levels. Okay, don't go spending more than you can afford to lose. Investing in helium right now in the early stages, you're a pioneer, and sometimes things don't go right. So you've got to be prepared for things not to go right. I don't believe that's the case, but who knows. Alrighty, so how would you like to average 10 HNT per day? This is an example what we're looking at right now of what somebody is earning right now. And of course, we've probably all ducked around the Explorer map and we've seen people that are earning staggering amounts. But what I really want to show tonight, how this is so achievable with a bit of planning. Generally in life, sometimes you can get lucky, but I believe in making my own luck, and I'd really encourage anybody that's serious about this to do the same. Okay, so this person back here earning 10 HNT a day. I mean, what are they doing? Are they living in the middle of a city? Maybe they're in the middle of Chicago, or they're in the middle of San Francisco, or they're in the middle of goodness knows where. They're in the middle of a large city with hundreds of helium units around them. They've got real estate on top of the best city in the best building in the city. You know, is that what they're doing? Is that what they actually have in order to earn 10 HNT per day based on current conditions? Well, I'm here to tell you that absolutely they don't. Now, if anybody happens to, I'll be using real case examples here. I'll be obviously throwing a couple of helium units here today. These are real. Anybody can go and find these. The area that I'm going to be talking about is actually in North Carolina in the US, and it's a town called Monroe. And according to what I'm seeing on Mr. Google at the moment, it's 9 degrees Celsius and 4:30 in the morning. So you're definitely not awake seeing this right now. And if you are, I hope you're wearing a jumper, because it must be pretty cold where you are. Now, Monroe, what sort of dynamics is this city? Well, it's a city with a bit over 25,000 people. So it's not a huge city by any means. By Australian standards over here, if you're looking at this from Australia, places like Toowoomba, Bendigo, Ballarat, Sale, goodness, I mean, I'm just listing towns that I know that do have large populations, but they have populations far less than 25,000. So you do a bit of a Google search for your own state, you'll find towns that have got 25,000 in them all over the place. But what I can say is that Monroe is not a large place by any means. In fact, it's very small. All right, and here is a picture of what we currently have in Monroe right now. There are 5 units in Monroe. And if we just go back a slide here, what did this person, they're making 10 HNT per day. And if we have a look down here, this is not an operation which has been going for a long time. Let's just count these here. We've got this is how many days have they been running at the time of recording. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So let's say they've been running for approximately 2 weeks. This is a brand new operation effectively. So if it's working in Monroe right now, there's no reason that the same thing can't happen for any of us here in Australia as our units start to arrive New Zealand or anywhere else. In fact, this is totally applicable to anywhere in the world, whether through it's Europe, whether it's in the US. If you are in an area right now that has got minimal coverage, you can set up this same thing for yourself. Okay, so there are 5 units in Monroe. There are actually 4 of them that belong to the same wallet, or the same person owns 5 units. There is a 5th unit which I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it just seems too coincidental to me. It's too perfectly located. So my belief is that probably the 5th unit is a friend or family member of the person that owns the 4 wallets here, but it just doesn't show up in this wallet. So here's the 4. Now, you may also be thinking, well, maybe Monroe is a place that has got, you know, really tall buildings or lots of towers, and these people have got really great, tremendous setups that are enabling them to earn 10 HNT per day each. Okay, so that's not a combined here, this is 10 each. And given that 4 of them are owned by the same person, that's 40 HNT per day on average that this person is earning right now. It just absolutely blows my mind, and I just get so excited at what's going on here. All right, so let's have a look. Now, these are just examples of using Google Street View of looking in the general streets where these units are located. Now, I did this not to identify the exact houses. What I really wanted to identify is there something special about Monroe that was allowing these sorts of results to be achieved? And in fact, what I found is that these houses that we're looking at in front of us right now are pretty much a perfect representation of most houses in Monroe, and are probably within a house or two of the specific location. But as you can see, these are normal everyday dwellings, single story, except for this one here, of course, that I suppose there's two here that are 2 stories. They've got attics or an upper story, but largely it's normal living arrangements. Okay, so let's go back out to our slide here for a moment, and let's just talk about what our people have done here. So let's just zoom into our map. If we were to look at the placement of each of these units, let's go back and have a look. Let's have a look at our person smack in the middle here, which just happens to be the unit that is not owned by the other 4 people in the unit. So this is Special Lava Parrot. Okay, so strategically positioned. How far away from the other units is Special Lava Parrot? And we have a look here, and we're approximately 600 meters away from Thankful Taffy Shrimp. You can see here that all of them are within a kilometer or within 1,000 meters of each other. So we're not talking about being spread out all over the place. Now, do they have external antennas? Now, my particular setup here in Australia is I do have external antennas. I have 5, I think I mentioned at the start, I have 5 Nebra units on order at the moment. I also have 5 external antennas. An external antenna will definitely give you the best coverage, but here's the thing. My guess is, looking down here at the units, is that they are so close together that there is a high probability that each of these units have just got a Nebra unit sitting in their front window, or whatever, of course, the miners is. They might have a rack miner or a bobcat. Probably not a bobcat, haven't been out long enough, but who knows? I mean, these have only been online for a week, so maybe they are bobcats. Either way, whatever it is, there is a miner. It's probably sitting in the front window, somewhere strategically positioned, clear of the window, clear of any obstructions, clear view of the town. These units are so close together, the fact that they will communicate very well with one another without any external antennas whatsoever. So there you go, Aussies. If you are looking to get yourself started right now, and you're wanting to give yourself the best opportunity for taking your future into your own hands, this is one way that you can do it. Purchase right back at the start. So let's go back and have a look at Australia again. Where was Australia? Where's my map of Australia? Right now we are pretty much no units at all. I'm here in Brisbane, incidentally. So let's have a look. I'm zooming into where within months this is going to be lit up very well with approximately between 20 and 50 units that I know of already that have been purchased by other people in my city in Brisbane, and there are approximately 300 to 500 units that I know of that have been purchased by people in Australia. So, but Australia is a big place, so it's going to be spread out and primarily around the capital cities. I'm down here in this place called Logan City. Now I'm going to position my unit high on a hill where my place is. So I'm actually going to have great coverage of pretty much the whole of Brisbane. In my next video, I'll go into my particular setup with my projected RF modeling that shows where I will likely be reaching with my external antenna. And all of the other units that are setting up, my base will be a whole lot bigger than just the 5 units that I have. but I don't want to assume the fact that any of those units, those other units, are going to arrive. So I'm going to be working with my 5, and that's my little world, and then anything on top of that is just cream. So I'll be setting up my 5 miners all within about 2 kilometers of my place, of my house. All of my units will have external antennas. In fact, I will be mounting all of my Nebra units outside of my premises in a waterproof and dustproof junction box with the antenna affixed to it, and it will be mounted at approximately 2 to 5 meters for all of my other 4 units. But my main unit here will actually have a 5.8 dBi antenna mounted 20 meters from the ground. So it's going to give me really fantastic coverage out to the suburbs. But I'll have my 4 all mounted in a similar way to Mr. Lava Parrot here. They will all be within about 1.5 kilometers of one another. So what will my income be in 3 to 4 months' time when my units arrive and when they are all synced and ticking along on the Helium network and the Internet of Things? Will I be earning, let's go right back to the start here, where's our slide, will I be earning 10 HNT per day? Well, of course, we've got the halving coming up, and there are going to be a bunch of other people coming on board. As I say, hundreds of thousands of units likely coming on board in the not too distant future. So it's probable that I won't be earning the 10 HNT per day, but it's likely that this particular person here likewise won't be earning 10 HNT per day. However, it's an even playing field, and the future isn't written yet. There are many people that I have seen via the looking at the Helium Explorer and really getting firmly involved in the the different forums online. There are a lot of people that, in my opinion, at the moment are maybe not doing this as smart as they possibly could. There's not really a whole lot of thought going into it. It's just buy a unit, throw it in the window and hope for the best. And when you make 0.2 helium, complaining, wondering why it's not going right, I think a bit of foreplanning here, looking for the locations where you can tap into an existing network. As I say, here in Australia, we don't have a network. We're starting from ground zero. So it's an opportunity for us to build from the ground up. In another 6 months' time, the strategy will change. It will be all about looking on the map, looking for the areas that maybe have coverage in place and looking to put units in to supplement those. Now the question has come from many in our own Aussie group here. When I've mentioned that I have got 5 helium units coming, where am I positioning them? Am I putting them all at my home? Well, no, of course I'm not putting them all at my home, because if I did that, I'd still be earning 0, because you can't have your units any closer than 300 meters together. If they're any closer than 300 meters, your units will still work. They'll still provide coverage out there to the Internet of Things, but the formula, the algorithm will not reward you. They're too close, so you'll be knocked out and you won't be earning for that. So I'm going to be positioning them. I've got 2 friends that live in my general neighborhood, because this is the town I live in. I know some people. I'll go and position a couple of units there. That leaves 2 spare, and I know through doing my own RF modeling, my RF signal modeling, where I ideally need to position them. So I'm going to start hunting for hosts. And those hosts I will be rewarding initially with a $50 a month guarantee and offer of sharing 50-50 with whatever HNT rewards I get, and obviously just transferring those HNT across to them, or even just paying them in Aussie dollars if that's what they want. I'll negotiate whatever deal I need to with those people, but I'm only looking for 2 households. And I figure out there's other entrepreneurs just like me who would love a way of earning great passive income just by sticking a little box on the side of their house. So that's how I plan on doing it. They're not going to be all at my house. They are going to be spread, and they'll be spread around my suburb, all within approximately 1 to 2 kilometers of my home location. The extension of that, and here's the exciting bit, is as the network starts to grow, so maybe the people that I host my units at see the income potential and get their own helium units. So that will obviously take 3 to 6 months for them to arrive with the current delays on hardware, etc. But when their units do arrive, then I take my 4 units and replace them with their units. So am I earning now from their machine? Well, no, I'm not, but of course I'm going to be witnessing them and they're going to be witnessing me. So consequently there will still be helium HNT earned. But then I'll take my 4 units and use my RF modeling to go and find the next area that I can tap into, as long as it's within range of my existing main unit, which I am lucky enough to have high elevation, so I've got a really big area to work through. But go and find the area that doesn't have any coverage yet and start the whole process rolling. Throw my 4 units out there, look for new hosts, etc. Or maybe I can leverage off a lone wolf that may be somewhere out in the boondocks, all on their lonesome, not earning much. I already know of a couple of people that will probably be in that position because they live in areas that there is not a huge population, and it will take a little bit of time for these things to catch on. Unless, of course, they're watching this video and they take on board some of the advice. So, okay, all right, so let's take it right back to the start. And then we'll close it off. What was it? Averaging HNT a day. Is it possible? Yes, it absolutely is. Do you need to be hitting some of the staggering numbers that I've seen of units in the US that are maybe reaching out to 20, 30, 40, 50 other hotspots? No, you don't. Do you need to have a super duper 15 dBi antenna mounted 50 feet in the air? No, you don't. All you need is a few units that are strategically positioned, and you can have the potential to do what is happening here in our great little town of Monroe. So with that, folks, I'm going to say cheers. The first video is now finished. I'll upload this, and there will be many coming, and I will be doing live broadcasts as well, especially for our Aussie comrades. So from down here and down under, g'day, have a good day, have a good night. We'll be talking to you soon.